Hi, PJ Scott here, your Navy Ways veteran. Welcome to another edition of Veterans Forum. My guest today is a Marine who was active duty, no longer active duty, but I've been informed once a Marine, always a Marine.
Hoorah.
Yeah. J.D. Bennett is going to talk about his time in the military, obviously the American Legion cap. But we're also later down the road going to discuss a little bit how in January veterans' records were compromised and what's been done to fix that situation. In the meantime, JD, give us a little background of yourself before you even went in the military. Where are you from? Blah, blah, blah.
I was born and raised in Indiana. I was a farm boy. Learned the traits of good work habits working on the farm.
Oh, yes.
And as a teenager, I worked at one of the local department stores as a stock boy. And when I graduated from high school, it wasn't a whole lot of work back in the Midwest, and service seemed to be the best way to go. They had a lot of benefits, and it was a steady income. And of course, you had the GI Bill and some other issues or benefits that really would help a young man. So I decided to be the first one in my family to join the military.
Well, good for you. Yes, I took advantage of that GI Bill. I thought, why should the men just get it? I was willing to do the time, so I put my hand up in 1971 because I wanted that college, and I did do it. Yeah,
Yep.
So yes.
I took advantage of mine as well.
Good, good. So how many years did you serve, and what did you see while you were in the military, and what rank did you reach, and so forth?
I spent 6 years, and I was with 2nd Marine 2-5 at Camp Pendleton. I spent 4 years with them, and then my last 2 years I was assigned to the Staff NCO Academy at El Toro.
Oh, okay.
At Marine Corps Air Base El Toro. The Staff NCO Academy was where staff sergeants were required to attend that before they could promote to gunnery sergeant.
Oh, okay.
And we also had the NCO Leadership School that was attached to that, and I was an instructor slash PT instructor, which the years haven't been too nice to me, but...
Well, yeah, we won't go there.
But I was the little young stud Marine when I came out, and good shape, and I got out of the Marine Corps and went straight into law enforcement. And when I retired from that, I decided that getting involved with Veterans Affairs was the route that I wanted to go.
So did you get to use any of that GI Bill, JD?
I did. I didn't take full advantage of it, which, you know, I kind of kicked myself for doing that. But while I was in the Marine Corps, I took some classes at Saddleback College while I was stationed at El Toro. And then when I got out, I took a few classes as well. And then there was a time limit on it, so I lost the benefits after a certain time period. But I was able to go back and finish up and get my AS degree.
I would encourage all vets. You have the GI Bill, and there's many different ways you can use that. You can also use it at technical schools. You don't necessarily have to, as the traditional term of college. Now, that's what I did. But no, you can go to technical school. Please look up your benefits. You served, you earned them, go get them.
And I believe they opened that up to vocational schools as well.
Yes, right.
And there's a lot of vocational skills out there that are needed, and our veterans are much needed in the workforce.
Well, I think businessmen like to hire vets because they're familiar with a pecking order, shall we call it?
Absolutely.
They know how to take orders, and they know how to be a team player, and they know how to take initiative.
And they have great leadership skills.
That's right, very much so.
Yeah, a lot of military personnel are recruited into law enforcement.
Yes.
I remember when I was in separations at El Toro, the recruiters from all the different police agencies around Southern California were there. LAPD, CHP, corrections, a lot of the local police departments, and sheriff's departments, and they recruited right from separations.
So you did 20 years with the police department or sheriff?
27 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 27.4 years was my retirement.
Well, thank you for serving in that manner as well as in the military.
Yeah, it was my honor and my pleasure to serve in the military, and of course, law enforcement provided a great background for me. For just most police officers and most peace officers in general are really good people, and
Yes.
and you're taught integrity and value and honor, and
Right.
not that I didn't have that coming out of the Marine Corps, but
Right. No, I understand what you mean.
yeah, a lot of guys, a lot of people, just guys and gals, will go into law enforcement.
Yes.
And there's a huge array of areas that you can go into in law enforcement once you've gotten out. So,
I had a girlfriend whose husband was a prison guard
I worked
for many years.
I worked with the Department of Corrections as well. So I started with Ontario Police Department in Southern California, and switched over to Corrections, and then I worked some time with Department of Justice, B&E, and then I went back to Corrections when Department of Justice was downsizing, and it was a good career. I learned a lot. I got to do a lot. So
Great. Thank you for all that service. Now you retire, and this is when like a lot of guys, because let's face it, the military is mostly men, but there are some women, myself, I'm not the only one by any stretch of the imagination, who once you retire, it's like, okay, what are you going to do for the second act? And we see people join the Legion or the VFW, those are the big two. AMVETS, and you really don't want to qualify for DAV, I do, and you don't want to qualify for blinded vets, but I do. And so, it's great if you can get in earlier, but you do see a lot of men and women who join after they retire, because I mean, you got to get food on the table. You got to pay the bills. Even women, most women work these days. When I went in 71, I'd say most of the women were still housewives, but some of them were definitely going out in the workforce.
There was a big, during Vietnam and after Vietnam, there was a lot more women that went into the military.
Yes, the prior.
Got more involved in different areas. Nursing skills were much needed.
Right.
And they found that the women, even from the World Wars and Korean War, was women volunteering at that time.
Oh yeah, sure. I've interviewed many women in World War II vets. Yeah.
It was great that they actually incorporated that and let the women become a part of it.
Well, actually, during World War II, if you stop and think about it, I'm sure they encouraged more women because, we've seen the movies, but World War II. I mean, my God, there wasn't a soul who didn't know somebody who was serving in the military, and we needed those men to be free to hit the beaches, be it in Europe or in Japan or wherever. So the women were back there doing what was normally a lot of men's jobs.
They were.
So God bless them all, okay? God bless them all.
They say behind every good man is a good woman.
I won't disagree with you. You can be quite a charmer, can't you? So in any event, do you belong to more than one veteran service organization? Many vets do belong to more than one.
Well, the only recognized veteran service organization I belong to is American Legion.
Okay.
I'm currently the 3rd Vice Commander for Post 23 in Sanger. And I'm also I'm on the executive committee for the 14th District of the American Legion, which covers Madera, Fresno, Kings, and Tulare County. And we have 23 posts within that, and by virtue of our 2nd Vice Commander in the district being out on disabled for medical, I have stepped in and taken the role of 2nd Vice Commander for the district.
Right.
And I'm also with the American Legion Riders, so I'm state Vice President, Area 3 alternate. I'm also on the Board of Directors for the Fresno Veterans Home.
Oh, okay.
And the Chairman for the Fresno Veterans Day Parade. And the Chairman for the Sanger Veterans Network.
You're busy.
And I'm the chef de trun for 40 and 8. So I do stay busy.
Yes. Now tell the audience who don't know what Legion Riders are, because that can be quite for those guys who like to ride their bikes, that can be quite a tool for them to join.
Oh, absolutely. The American Legion Riders is a branch or a subset of the American Legion, and most posts have a chapter of American Legion Riders attached to them, and it's a great time. You're all kind of in uniform with your vest. You have your patch for the chapter that you belong to, and it's got the American Legion Riders emblem on it, which is a bold eagle with the emblem on the inside of it. You can tell those guys when they're riding down the freeway, and they usually ride in large groups. And a lot of times we get a lot of different posts together and ride together, especially within the area or the district. So it's a great time for anyone, any veteran who, and you have to be a veteran to be a rider. You have to belong to the American Legion to be an American Legion rider.
Of course.
And we do a lot of traveling. We go to different
places. Well, and
places.
as a matter of fact, one of the things that I really appreciate and support is when I was living in Washington, they would frequently turn out as a show of support for military funerals.
Absolutely, we do.
You know that, yeah.
We just recently in Fresno had Corporal Gilliam, who came back after his tour of duty and fighting the loss of both legs. He passed away in a bout with that. And when he returned to Fresno, we had a large group of American Legion Riders, the Patriot Guard, guys on motorcycles who were leading those processions.
Good, good. That's a priority.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you're in the Legion, and it sounds like you wear a lot of hats. Which one do you like the most, or you find the most rewarding, perhaps?
Wow, that'd be really tough. Everything that I do, I thoroughly enjoy. I absolutely enjoy. I really found a niche in life that is rewarding. There's nothing like helping a veteran out there who is down in the dumps. Maybe he might have PTSD, feeling suicidal, or just frustrated because he can't get benefits, and you step in and you help him get some benefits through VA, or help him get his retirement papers together and get some benefits from VA, and it's so rewarding because these guys have been struggling for years to get something like that just to make ends meet. And each aspect that I work with, the American Legion I do a lot with because I'm involved in different areas, the 3 different areas. And I started my organization, the Sanger Veterans Network, out in the Sanger area, which encompassed all the veteran service organizations. And that included the AMVETS, VFW, and DAV out there.
That's great that they're all working together.
It is, and I find that to be just as rewarding because each veteran service organization has a slightly different mission. Even though we all help veterans, we have a slightly different mission, and pulling everybody together and utilizing all those resources is just phenomenal.
Well, before we jump to these veterans' records being compromised, I would really recommend that if you're a veteran, even if you're a busy part of your life right now, working, education, so forth, join a veteran service organization. We need to look at these veteran service organizations, if you will, almost like a labor union, because they are the voice to protect vets. And the commanders, the national commanders, go to a lot of congressional meetings, and they put in some important input to the vets' benefits. But membership matters.
Absolutely.
So join up. I think the big 2 is American Legion's the biggest, I believe, and VFW's right at our heels.
Yes.
And there's many veteran service organizations. I mean, you have no problem finding them, but do join one or more if you can.
My goal ultimately is working my way up through the Legion. I want to be able to sit on the legislative committee for the American Legion, which gives you the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C., to go to Sacramento, and speak up for the veterans, be a voice for the veterans community.
That's right.
And being as much of an advocate as I am for veterans and benefits and stuff like that, it's something that I really look forward to, and real close to making it there.
So tell me, BD, last January, vets became aware that the vets' records were compromised, and I wasn't sure if that was due to the VA or the Pentagon or who. And my vision is such, as many as my viewers know, I don't do small print on a computer and then the light shining in your eye, so I don't read as much as I'd like to be able to, but that's just my world. So can you shed some light on what happened and how did it happen?
It was a software program that was utilized dually by the Veterans Administration, by the VA, and the Department of Defense. And those records that were accessed were medical benefits, bank accounts.
Bank
accounts, anybody that was with federal credit unions through the military.
This is scary.
Yes, it was. There was approximately 4 million users that were compromised. And fortunately, they caught the glitch. A lot of people, when they would log on, was saying that they were seeing up to 20 other members' personal information on there. And so they were calling that in. So within 24 hours, they had shut the system down and had been working on the glitch in that system. Pretty much like any other government program, when you get 2 of them working in there, there's bound to be a glitch. When they'd done up the Obamacare website, that was 2 different organizations trying to work on that. There was a glitch in that. So, but on the veterans side of it, they actually, the Congressional House Committee done an interview or an investigation on what happened with that. Their IT guys, their tech guys, actually went in and to see what information was actually compromised, how much of it was compromised, and who had access to it. And anybody that could log into that system had access to it. So that's basically somewhere around 5 million users.
My God in heaven.
So your social security numbers, your address, medical records, medical record numbers.
Now, did this happen in part because there were too many users on the site at the same time, and it was kind of an overload, or?
Well,
I'm trying to figure out how in the world did this happen?
Well, that's why they were doing the investigation. They had their IT guys on it. I don't think they've actually published any what the issue really was, if they've even found it. They did say that the glitch was fixed, but that's not too reassuring when they've already had one glitch in the system and compromised approximately 4 million users' personal information, including bank accounts.
You know, I'm beginning to wonder more and more as we go on in this computer age if it's really a good idea to have everything on the computer, because it doesn't seem like to me it's very safe. I, for one, when I go Christmas shopping, take cash. I'd rather my cash be stolen than my bloody credit card. You know, referring to the Target thing where everybody got their card swiped, and more information than just your card number was transmitted.
Well, and they even found out on that investigation that that was a hacker from overseas that did that. So, you know, they're saying that this was a glitch in the VA DOD system, but, you know, the results of the investigation hasn't been released, if they even found it. And is that a foreign entity that's infiltrated that? So that could be, you know, that could be used against us down the road.
Yes, as we've had.
It's kind of a conspiracy theory.
Two hackers, Snowden and the Army guy, what was his name? I don't remember. Taking information and doing God knows what with it. I wonder if they think about unintended consequences, or they have this plot in their head how it's all going to work out, and that may not be that way. I find it very scary, and you know, I worked at a nuclear weapons facility for 3 years during NAM. Big building, brick, good old Marines surrounded that building
Hoorah.
with their, ready to shoot the dogs.
Yeah.
Try breaking into that place and stealing information. I had to make darn sure that it was locked in a drawer, and then the door that the drawers were in was also locked. Plus, there were cameras everywhere. I really sometimes wonder if all this, everyone's so interested in being superior, but are you really when you keep getting hacked?
Well,
It's scary. It's really scary when you consider the weapons technology.
it is.
These
I don't like doing a lot of online stuff myself. I limit what I do online. I'm a little old-fashioned, but I'm kind of into the techie world a little bit. I do the Twitter and the Facebook, and I've got Facebook accounts for all of our veterans organizations that I administer. But and even those, the Facebook pages get hacked all the time. Twitter accounts get hacked all the time.
Well, people ask me about a Facebook, and I refuse to have a Facebook. I have a web page, which is not in good shape right now. I need to get a new webmaster, but no, I'm not interested in Facebook.
Even those get compromised.
Yes, they
those
do.
Get hacked. So,
right.
And having foreign entities, Russia, China, who are adversaries, hacking into our systems is kind of scary.
It's very scary, and I'm all for new technology, but I'm also for being safe.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's got to be a priority. One is being safe, and it's been proven over and over and over again that some genius will find a way to outwit your genius to make it secure. Can't we just put things...
Where does it stop?
Well, that's just it. The big giant mushroom. Is that where it stops?
Well,
very scary.
Yeah, it stopped one country, but
I'd
hate to see that happen
No,
again.
I would too. No one in their right mind would want that to happen.
Well, I think in our world today, when we look at all the compromises that have happened, you've got guys that go to the VA, that those VA systems have been hacked. Now, what if these guys go back to war? And let's face it, it's not out of the question that we could go to war with China, Russia, or North Korea.
God knows who, yes.
And those three countries are Iran. Those are all lingering right there. Those could be countries that we go to war with here real soon. Now, if they've hacked those systems and they've got information on our guys, who's to say that when they start capturing POWs that they don't go through those systems and when this guy says his name, rank, and serial number, and that's all he gives them, and then they start telling him, well, what about your wife? These two kids that you have, living in California.
Or wherever.
Yeah, so that's a scary thought.
It is.
And I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. I think that's feasible.
Well, in this day and age, it's technologically possible.
It
so you got
is.
to, what's that term? Do what you can to protect yourself and pray that you never need to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we're winding down here. So as we leave, do you have any parting words for the vets out there, particularly American Legionnaires? You want to make a pitch for the Legion, or this is your 3 minutes?
My 3 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
Not particularly just for the American Legion, but for all the veterans out there. And I'm just going to use Sanger as an example. We have 850 recognized veterans in Sanger. Only 275 of them are connected to a veteran service organization, whether it be the American Legion, AMVETS, VFW. And I encourage all veterans out there to get involved with a veteran service organization. I've had guys who said, I'm an introvert, I don't want to be involved in nothing like that, and I don't have time for that. And you court them a little bit, and you tell them some of the benefits, and once they get in there, they thoroughly enjoy it. And it's camaraderie. You get to sit around, and whether it's sitting in the club room or whether it's sitting around the barbecue pit, just hanging out with other guys. We've had guys that were sitting there at the bar in the club room talking, and come to find out they served in the same unit at the same time.
Oh, they didn't even know it.
And they didn't know.
Wow.
And so there's all sorts of capability for them once they get in there.
Right.
And the main thing is just the camaraderie. We all have something. We all have a story.
Right.
And
well, I know that very well. It's kept me in business for 13 years.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
very much
I just encourage all the veterans out there to get involved in a veteran service organization and be a part of the Fresno Veterans Day Parade.
Yeah, I would encourage that for, and let me reiterate, for the same reasons I outlined earlier. Membership is power. Your department commanders, those are state commanders, go to their capital on the behalf of veterans, as
Yes.
does the national commander. And if you want to keep those veterans benefits going, join, because there is always, when we have a budget problem, it seems like they always want to talk about cutting VA benefits or cutting the retirement pay.
Yep.
You don't want that to happen. You want to say, let's talk about cutting a little foreign aid here,
Okay.
instead of Social Security. Americans have worked all, come on now. You need to join, because membership is political power.
And numbers speak volumes.
That it does.
And we just recently fought the fight for COLA for our retired veterans. And we're still fighting that fight because we're not satisfied with what our legislators have done.
Yeah. Okay, well, God bless you. We've come to an end.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I enjoyed having you. And I always like to remind my viewers, some vets from the current war and other wars are disabled forever. And some of them from this current war are catastrophically.
Absolutely.
So please remember in your prayers the families that are taking care of those vets. And if you could, offer your time, hey, I've got 2 or 3 hours available on whatever day, if you'd like to go shopping or you want a break, that would be so nice. This is PJ Scott with Veterans Forum, and may God bless you. See you next month.